Hello and welcome to the studio. It's Amanda here, your host. Thank you for joining me and welcome to Arts and Wellness Café. So I hope that you've got your favourite tipple. Do you know what's really funny when I say that? I'm thinking of a lot of the films, programmes that I've been watching, and I don't know whether you've noticed this as well. But every time they go into an office, they sit down, they're always pouring what looks like whiskey, bourbon, gin, or whatever it is, but they're always pouring a drink. And yeah, it's just really funny because I'm just like, you know, I sat there thinking, and this was a while back, but I've noticed it more. And I've been watching some of these series, you know, as you do. And it's just like, they're all alcoholics, you know, why are they all drinking so much? Every time they go into an office, literally, they get either the alcohol is on the side or it's in a drawer, and there's always 2 glasses or 1 if they're drinking alone. But there was one series I was watching, I can't even remember what it was, but it was just, I started feeling like a whiskey. Whiskey seemed, not that I drink whiskey, but whiskey seemed like a really appealing drink. And that's the power of the advertising and the power of the things that we watch. So let me share with you what today's word is. Healthy. Well, this week's. Is that healthy or wealthy? Let's say it's both. Healthy and wealthy. Can't even read my own writing, but the word for this week is healthy and wealthy. But yeah, the power of the things that we watch and the influence that it can have over our lives. And this week I've been working on myself because I was thinking to myself about my journey and the things that I want to change. And I recently just did a story on one of my stories, a creative garden, do the thing now. I can't remember what the thing said, but it said basically it's do the thing now that your future self would appreciate. Now if you can go on either one of my stories now, it's there. But what are you doing now to then mean that tomorrow you'll be able to walk in either the blessings or the things that you want to do? What is it you're doing to put these things into place? And what actions do you need to take now so that tomorrow, you know, you're that much closer to where you want to be? And I just started looking around basically and thinking about, you know, like looking at my studio mainly and thinking, oh gosh, there's so much to do. But not I wasn't thinking like I just said it, but there is so much to do, but it was that I wanted to think about the direction that I wanted to head in. Because at the end of the day, the things that you think are important that you're working on, at the drop of the hat can become totally not important, and you know, then where are you? And I say that because one of the if you've been following me, I've been doing wood burning and working with wood harvested from my garden, and so I've been working with the wood and everything, and I've done a few projects with the wood in them, and we've had like torrential rains over the past couple of months, and I was looking at one of the pieces of art, and it was just like the wood was covered in mold, and it was just like, what is going on? Oh my gosh. And my first instinct was to let me just dash it, and it was just like, no, actually it's because of the moisture in the room. It's actually, the wood has been varnished, so it's on the surface, and all I need to do is just wipe them down. But I was just like, ew, I don't even want to go near it. It was just like, there's your piece of art, you know, that's a piece of art that you've worked on. It's not in the art itself, it's just on the wood that is hanging off. And yeah, when I kind of paid it more attention, it was just like, oh yeah, okay, you know, it's literally just surface. And that made me think, okay, well, when I first created them, or going forward, what I need to do is, because they have to have a period of drying, and then I work on them and then I varnish. So what I need to do is do more than one coat of varnish. And in the middle of the piece of wood, let me show you. Show you this one. Okay. Well, this is not in the middle of when you're working with there's a little ant on there. When you're working with moringa wood, there's a bit down the middle that is like a soft kind of mushy. It's not soft or mushy, but it's the softest bit of the wood. It's the central bit of the wood, like I was gonna say the meat, but when you work with it, I would normally put a skewer down there or like a metal rod, and that then gets it out. But sometimes you can leave some on there, and so that can often, because you're varnishing the outside. And so it was just like, until once I reasoned with myself and said, well, you know, these are the things you then have to make sure you put in place if you're going to use them in this way. You make sure you either dip it really well so that the varnish goes on the inside of the wood itself, so that it forms a seal, so that, you know, the moisture is not an issue. That's what you're going to have to do. And so that, not the instinct, but the urge to just dash it, it was just like, well, what if you take that example and think about what it is in your life that you're holding on to that you really don't need to, that you can just let go of, and it might be the time today to let go of those things. And so when I looked around my studio, it was like, part of me was saying, oh my gosh, there's so much work to do. It was just like, actually, there's only as much work as you desire for there to be, because, you know, you're growing, you're working on new things. And so maybe some of the things that you were working on are not serving you, and they need to, you know, you need to either stop doing them, move them out, or, you know, give them to somebody else, or do a giveaway, or whatever it is. And so it was just like, that was an interesting thought process for me, because it just feels right. It's just like, at the end of the day, why are you holding on to things that are not serving you? And that's the maturity that comes, and that's also back to the health, a healthy way to look at something, because, you know, you're bogging yourself down with things that are not necessarily either fulfilling or serving you, or in a place where you need to be, and it's just adding more stress. And so when you release them, you release the stress, and then that allows space for those things that are important and that will, you know, bring in the things that you need. So where, you know, whilst you don't want to be totally, if you're totally stressed out about how you're making your money, if you're a creative and you're trying to make money out of your creativity, then what you might need to do is go and get a job that you don't have to think about, that brings in money, pays your bills, and then you can focus on your art. Or, you know, so I'm not saying that you can't make money out of your art, but if you're in a position where, you know, well, this has to make money, and you're jumping from one thing to the next to say, well, let me try this, let me try that, let me try this. If you know what it is you want to do in terms of the output as a creative, then, you know, put your whole self in there. But if you are jumping from one thing to the next, and 1 minute you're doing this, 1 minute you're doing that, 1 minute you're, you know, and you're, it's almost like trying, you know, get rich quick schemes, then maybe for a period of time you get a job that will bring in a steady income. It's not taxing to the brain. You don't bring stuff home afterwards. You just go and do it, and that then feeds into building your dream. And you have less stress. You don't have any stress because you've then got the time to focus on the things that you really want to do. So maybe that could be something that you have to maybe think about. But also, using those words, think about the wealth of knowledge that you have, the wealth of experience that you have. And often we can forget those things. We've been doing it for so long, we forget it. And that's why you need to kind of review where you are. Look at your CV from time to time, your artist statement, and look at the things that you've done, because sometimes it's just like, you forget. Like, I used to talk about, I used to do a lot of conferences with, not that I've forgotten, but I have to remind myself that I used to do conferences on the impact of creative activities on the health for people who are living with dementia. And that was something I did for I did it for a couple of years here, working with the Barbados Alzheimer's Association, and I did a lot of talks around the island. And I used to do it in England as well, and I did 4 years teaching people living with dementia, teaching art, and I did massage therapy as well. And then I later went on for about another 3 years, on top of the 4 years that I was working in the dementia centre, where I was running art workshops. But I went and I I would speak to social workers, I would do conferences on creative activities, looking at the carer's point of view, and I pulled in, creative activities and things that you could do, things that you need to think about if you're a social worker going in to a situation where somebody needs, to use social services. And so I had to remind myself that, you were doing all of this, especially when you feel, when you're feeling, you stop appreciating yourself, you stop appreciating how far you've come. And so you have to have moments where you think, oh, actually, I used to do this, and this. And think about how you pull that into your current work. And that's something I'm going to be doing more, in terms of looking at the benefits of doing an art activity on our health. And again, that's one of the reasons why I look at these words as well, because words have power. Words are powerful. We need to be speaking encouraging words over our life on a daily basis. So those are the two words I just wanted to touch on, or the one word that I couldn't read properly. But I think it's appropriate that that we're able to, this is you run it the way you want. Yeah, and think about that in terms of your art as well. If you want to use 2 words, use 2 words. If you want to use 1, and that's coming back to the idea of, let me find the exact quote, because I've got it on my phone, and because it's something that it's something that we need to really think about. So it says, do something today that your future self will thank you for. So what is it you're doing today? What is it? How do you want to live your life next week? How do you want to live your life tomorrow? What do you want to be doing? The same things day in, day out, in the sense that you don't see much change, because change is happening whether you do something or not. Change is happening from year to year. You're getting older. Your body's going through different processes, so change is occurring. The seasons change, the environment changes. So if you want to have more control over your experience of your life, then you need to be doing something to enable that to happen. So I was saying to somebody had asked me about, you know, my journey teaching art, and I was saying to them, it's all started because I started posting more, and my first experience of teaching on an online course was with T.R. Smith, and she brought us all together. I think the first class I did was called Embracing Your Art or something like that, and then I've gone on to do the badass art journal workshops, and there is one for this year, and I will be sharing more about that next week. But it was because I started posting more, and then I came onto her radar, and then she saw what I was doing and then said, oh, do you want to, and that's, you know, like 5 years ago. And I've been doing art courses, teaching on art courses with different people on a yearly basis. I did one with Kiala Givehand. I think I did two with Kiala Givehand, and I'm doing the Life book with Tamara, and which other one? The one art badass art journal, and there's another one that I'm going to be on, but I again can't talk about that for another week or so. But it was, I put myself out, I stepped out, I wanted to have a different experience for the months to come. I didn't think about, oh well, if I post this is going to happen. I just thought, okay, I want to start posting, I want to start sharing what I'm doing, and I just did it. And if you think about your journey and where it is you want to go and what it is you want to do and how you want to experience your life, you need to be doing something different, and it can just be one thing to start off with. Like today I was cleaning my windows this morning. It was just like, if you've seen, I haven't done the studio ones yet, but I was doing next door, our front room. But it's amazing how just one simple thing gives you a whole different outlook on things. So just cleaning the windows was just like, it just felt, you know, and I think that's probably because my go-to, let me finish the sentence, it felt good to see, you know, that you could not only see, it wasn't that bad, but again, because of all the rain and, you know, going on the window and the kind of thing that it leaves on it, and then condensation inside, and it was getting a bit kind of, but anyway, so it was just like, okay, I had this spray thing, you just spray it on and it's got this solution in it and you just wipe it off, and it was just like really easy. And I find that when I'm trying to think things through, cleaning is something that helps. So I will go and reorder something or tidy up something, or, you know, fold clothes or sweep, because you get immediate results then as well. But it is thinking about those small actions that can actually make an impact on the rest of your life, because you don't just want to exist, you want to actually live and experience life. And as a creative, you have a responsibility to share your creativity out into the world, because what you're creating is going to touch somebody else's life. It's not just for you. And you have to use your gifts, and you have to use those things that come to you. And it's not to say that you don't have to work at them. For sure you have to work at them. You have to mold them and make them better. And that's one of the things that when I look at things that I want to do, I practice them. I spent, before I ever did a podcast, I spent a year, not a year in my car, but I spent a year every time I got into my car to either pick up my son, bring him home, or I would drive to my mum's like 2-3 times a week and stay over. So on the way there, it was about a 40-minute drive. So I would put on the microphone on my phone and just record me talking about something. Sometimes it'd be really good because I'm talking through things that I may be feeling. You know, it might have been a difficult evening, you know, dealing with, say, mum's mood change or how she was feeling, because, you know, people who are living with dementia, they still have emotions, and you can't just say, well, you've got dementia, so you've just got to sit in a corner. It's just like you're still going to feel angry, sad, depressed, or happy, or, you know. So it was, if I was in a particular place expecting the routine to be as it was, like, you know, mum would come in and she'd have something to eat, she'd, you know, rest, would do a little bit of activity and then have a, you know, nightcap and then go to bed. If she didn't want that routine that day, then I had to be flexible. And so in the beginning it was difficult and challenging, more challenging, because I had to learn that I had to listen more, I had to be more patient. I had to think about things from mum's perspective, and I think bringing that all back when we think of our journeys and ourselves and our lives as creatives, we have to think about life from the positive creative's perspective, because we've got all those doubts, or we can have some doubts about ourselves or a particular thing that we've got to do. But we've got to think about the end game, and when we actually achieve the thing that we want, what is it that we want? You have to know what you want to begin with, and then think about how you want to achieve it. Well, not even how you want to achieve it, but you might put some loose steps in place, and you might think of the end game. Well, this is what I want to achieve. I want to experience the feeling of being proud of myself, say, I don't know, receiving an award, or writing a book, or illustrating my book. Yeah, I've actually, do you know what? If I hadn't have thought about it, because I had written a book, I'd written 3 short stories that are going to be kind of just short, kind of graphic novels, I think, maybe. And one of the things that was missing was, it was about a woman whose family tradition was to create quilts. And I was thinking to myself, oh gosh, I'm going to need to either, you know, I'm going to need to illustrate them. But fast forward 4 years, I've actually made, you know, some of these art quilts that I had envisioned in my mind in this story. And so there you go. So it's that kind of thing, you know, you start today as you mean to go on, and think about doing at least one thing that will benefit your tomorrow. You know, don't allow the day to come and go and not do something that is working towards your tomorrow, that is working towards your future self, that is working towards you feeling those experiences that you want to experience from your creativity. And you just have to go for it. So what have I been working on? What have I been working on in the studio? So one of the things I've been working on, I've another journal, and in it this time all I'm doing is filling it with pattern paper. Now all of these papers were ones that I'd got into free gifts or I'd brought, and they're sitting there. So I don't really sell paper or stuff like that. So it's just like, create some journals so that you can come back in. And what I did today was create a couple of images in one of the techniques I did, one of the tutors did for the Lifebook Tasters. And I just thought, well, that is just going to be for me to experiment. If I've got, again, 5-10 minutes and I want to create an image, I can do it in there and I can use whatever I want. But the paper's already prepped, the pages are already prepped. I don't have to put any background paper, I can just start with the colour. Or I was also thinking of maybe doing some stamps, because I wanted to do some nature-inspired imagery. So that's what I might do. That's what I decided to do for this one. So that is what I'm going to do. I've worked on another small journal. So I've got loads of small journals, and what I might be doing is actually releasing some of them, but they're all handmade and all decorated, got handmade paper, painted paper, etc. But I was just kind of adding lines to it. So it's great if you have, like, I had paint left over and I just wanted to get rid of the paint, so it was just like, okay, apply some patterns in the journal, and then, you know, again, that's a great place to start. So I was doing that, and the other thing is, for me, what I was doing was, okay, what projects are ones that you can't use, and what I want you to do is put those things away so that you can, and I've got company now, put those things away and focus on working on the things that you need to do. So I've got lots of videos to create, an interview to do. I've got some clearing in the studio to do, and just tidying up. And again, with this idea of doing something that will benefit your future self, it's just like moving to the next level. So if you're going to move to the next level now, then the benefits will be that you will experience the consequences of moving to the next level. So it might be a financial thing, it might be, you know, the kind of people that you work with, the responsibilities that you then have. I really wanted to get my own courses out there, so it's just like I need to now be doing things differently. So I'm glad I was able to share that, and I'd love to hear your comments, love to hear the kind of things that you're thinking about when you think about those two words, wealthy and healthy, and how that relates to your creative practice. And maybe you do a journal page, or, you know, do some art piece that will express that, and also help you to think about where it is you want to go next, and what kind of things do you need to put in place. You know, it might be that you're at the point where you need to hire somebody, you know, or you need to stop working so small. I was saying that, I was sort of like I'm still taking, I think I made these were made for a reason. Like, you know, you work in a very small way. I came from working very small and kind of slowly making my way to making bigger pieces. But yeah, there may be things that you need to kind of even journal out. And once you've journaled them out, and, you know, or it could be an art journal, imagery based. Once you've done that, you'll be able to see things more clearly, and you'll be able to identify some of the steps that you need to take. So get on with it, and I will see you soon. I hope that you've enjoyed some of the videos that I've been putting out. Lots more videos to come out, lots more technique videos. Jump over onto my Patreon and see the different tiers that are available there. You can see behind the scenes and a lot more. And I also release Patreon only content over there. So take a look, let me know what you think. And if this is your first time here, I'd love it if you subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you soon.